I'm gonna get guys have all left right now, and I'm gonna get a couple of the mares out here, or my fillies actually. These guys here, I'm gonna get out. That's Wild Rose, and that's Ad's Easter Morning. That's Rosie, and that's Lily. I'm gonna get them out here, and I'm gonna brush them out and stuff. The guys have all left, and we've been working on this compost packaging line today. How you doing, girl? That's my good girl. Oh, see, I approached too bad. How you doing, girl? Such a good girl. And I'm gonna get. Hey, Rosie, how you doing, sweetie? Huh? That's my girl. That's my good girl. Here, what we do is show you. It's kind of hard to record this and then also do it, but I'll see if I can here. So what we do is we have the horses come to us at the stall door, like she does see, and then I'll put the halter on her, and then I'll tie her out here. Whoop, she's ready to come out. And I need both hands to do this. Okay, I got her all tied to this, and this is a quick release knot that I do. So if there's any sort of panicky sort of thing, I can do it. Hey, girl, you're so sweet. And you've seen Rosie in some of the other videos. I think she's in a video. It's called My Fillies Protesting. And that's a cool video to watch. You might want to watch that one. It shows her just being preoccupied with, other stuff and just acting out a little bit. She was just acting out a little bit, and that's a really good video. It's you can kind of see how some of the training sessions and stuff go, picking up all this hay and everything. But yeah, I'm gonna start brushing her in a second, just looking her over. See, they get these tangles in them. This is from the wind, and so I'll try to pick that out best I can, and then I'll brush her out. She's a people have asked, she's a gray horse, and she has gray's like a modifier gene, and so they get, kind of, to put a different way, they get like premature graying, and they'll actually turn out to be white. I'll show you a picture of my horse Bandit. You can see him in the back over there, but I'll post a picture of him. And so that's her father, is her sire is my stallion, Blue-Blooded Bandit, and he's a chestnut. She's a chestnut horse as well. She's a chestnut horse base color, and she is a horse that's got the gray gene, and so she's graying out, and different horses will gray out at different speeds or rates, or whatever you want to call it. I found that the chestnuts seem to gray out pretty quickly if they have the chestnut base color. The blacks seem to take a little longer, and also if you have one gray gene, it takes a little longer than if you have two gray genes. If you have two gray genes, a horse has two gray genes, they gray out a lot faster. And so that's kind of a neat thing. So she'll turn out to be a white horse. Like I said, all our horses are barefoot. I'm really striving to do that and keep them barefoot. I haven't shoed any of our horses riding. Now we do, like when they're down at our handlers, and we just show in model class, and we're doing some versatility. They put shoes on them down there, but they're just a regular regular keg shoe, or regular. It would be like what you would look at as a regular horseshoe. And but it's, when I get them back, I take the horseshoes off them, and try to get them all barefoot again. Um, my view on that is, if you can, ride them barefoot. Um, their hooves are healthier, and everything. Now you have to work with, your nutrition has to be good, and your um, you know husbandry has to be good. They can't be standing out in muck and all that kind of stuff. Day after day. Um, but if you feed them, like, and what we do is we feed them a forage diet. We just do straight. We do hay, pasture, and we do grass pellets, and grass pellet, alfalfa mixed pellets, and then we also do like alfalfa hay. So that's the kind of stuff she wants me to rub her. So that's what we do. We do like that, and then you're gonna get a nice hoof growth. Hers need to be sanded around the edges a little bit, but they're pretty darn hard and tough as well. And we're trying to do like a keep them like that. Let me see. Now she's 3, and so she's not fully grown yet, but she's turning out to be a really sweet horse, really good. I had a really nice phone call with a friend of mine, Andrea Disney, today, and we were talking about the horses and stuff, and she was just talking to friends and stuff, and they were just saying that they because you'll hear me in the videos, like I said, we don't really work on the gait much. And I guess I should clarify that we do. We spend so much time working on their foundation, getting them to carry a rider in a balanced way, and in a coordinated way, and in a calm way. And the calmness is the big thing. She keeps bringing her butt over to me for me to scratch her. Look at that. That's what she wants. She goes, "Come on, man, do that." So anyhow, what we were talking about, it, like I was saying, is I say in the videos that we don't work on the gait. And I should probably clarify, eventually we will, but there's no point in working on the gait if your horse is nervous and nervous about carrying a rider. And how you can tell if they're nervous about carrying a rider would be something like, "Hey, sweetie pie, how you doing?" Where you go from a walk into, you're trying to speed them up, right? So you're going into, like a typical horse would be going into like a trot or something. And even with a gaited horse, they'll trot or they'll pace or whatever. But so you're going to speed them up. Well, if they speed up and it's kind of like their accelerator gets stuck and they just keep going faster and faster, that's a good indicator that the horse is not he or she is not calm and relaxed about you riding. They're getting worried. And until you get them through that to where you can accelerate and you can slow down and it's easy breezy and the horse is, "Hey, sweetie, how you doing?" is relaxed about it, you don't have the foundation down right yet. And if you start to just work on the gait at that point, and this is what most people do, they work on the gait and work on the gait and work on the gait and work on the gait, and then to the exclusion of everything else. And So it's not a good thing. She keeps wanting me to pet her here. But it's not a good way to be, and they're going to get you're going to get a horse that, yeah, you can gait in a straight line, or you can gait around in an oval, or something like that. But anytime they're going to be worried, and you're probably not going to feel too comfortable on that horse. And a lot of times you'll see, that's why you see a lot of gaited riders and horses have these big huge shank bits and stuff like that. And because the horse won't slow down, and they don't have a good foundation. They're not calm, right? And these horses are a very calm horse, a calm breed. So it's not really indicative of what they really are, you know. So, like I said, we were today. I was working on our compost. We do compost along with the horses, and working on the compost line, the packaging line, and working on that out a lot, and ran into a couple little snags and stuff like that, but that's working out better now. So I just wanted to get out here and brush this horse out. I haven't really brushed her, I've just been talking to you guys, but anyhow, I was just going to say about the gaiting. We will show more them in a smooth gait and stuff, but I've just been focusing on all this other. Hi, sweetie pie. She wants to groom me too. I've been working on all this other stuff with them, and it's not that we don't do the gait. It's just that I haven't shown much of it yet, you know. But because we have a lot of young horses, and like my horse Rain and my horse Wayne, both of those guys are just very smooth gaited horses, but they're also very good riding horses, you know. They're getting to be really, really good, and calm and well mannered and stuff as well. So, but I'm gonna. Hey girl, how you doing? Like I was saying about our training, this is the thing that I don't think the general public realizes how much time goes into training a horse. She's got flies biting her a little bit. It's, you know, I'm surprised. Actually, I mean, the horses pick things up pretty darn quickly. Hey girl, how you doing, sweetie? And but it does take time, and you have to. It's like stacking bricks. You know, you can't just because you want to be on the third floor doesn't mean you can start stacking bricks on the third floor if there's no first floor or no second floor. You know, this is the foundation that we talk about, right? And so you can't. Everybody wants to be on a higher floor. You know, when you first thing you think, oh, my horse is not gaiting, so I'm going to just work on gait. Well, the reason it might not be gaiting is because, well, it might not. I mean, it has to be a gaited horse, but it might be that it just doesn't. It's nervous, you know, and you haven't got some foundational training done. That's really critical to getting them to do that, you know, because a gaited horse like a Tennessee Walker, when they're relaxed, I mean, when they move out in the field, out in the pasture with their buddies, they just gait. They also canter, they also gallop, they also trot, they also will pace and do these different things. And so, but certain gaits and certain movements are associated with, um, you know, being nervous, fractious and stuff. And so, sweetie pie. And so, you've got to work on the foundation. And so that's the thing that people, I've seen so many Tennessee Walkers. I've seen so many Tennessee Walkers that, are will gait beautifully around in a pen, a ring, and they just, strike this real nice gait and looks beautiful and everything. You get that same horse out in some sort of real world scenario, and everything goes out the window. They're bumping along, they're accelerating through your hands, they're doing all sorts of stuff, and I just don't want that for myself. And I think when people start to ride, I think when people start to ride a horse that's got a really good foundation on it and can carry a rider in a relaxed manner, in a balanced manner, and first off, it's really good for the horse. I mean, they're going to become this great riding horse that you can ride for decades, and whereas when you do this other stuff and you drill them, and a lot of these horses end up lame, and or they go to people after they've done their show thing. They go to people and that want to ride them on the trail or something, and they're nervous because the horse doesn't know anything. And you think it would if it's been, trained for years. You think it would know how to carry a rider. Oh, sweetie pie. But they don't. And so that's the kind of stuff that we work on. And it takes a long time. And that's why our horses will be more expensive. And we just have hundreds of hours in them, and then you have years of care getting them up to where they're where you can even start to train them, and all that stuff's really important. It's important to build that foundation and stuff. Like one of the things that we'll do, like and this is down the line, it's after the horse starts to relax and carry a rider in a relaxed way. I mean, Eric will start to he'll be standing there with the horse, like be on his back, and he'll just pick up the reins just slightly, right? And when the horse collects itself a little bit, and it'll just dip its head a little bit, he releases everything. And so that's the start of the cue. Like when I pick up the reins, gather yourself up and get in basically a good frame to ride. And it's slow. So like when a horse is like, I don't know, it's so hard to explain because there's so much of this stuff out, and I don't want to name names and throw people under the bus or anything, okay? But if you go out and look at gaited horse, people who are selling gaited horses, you're going to see these high-headed horses. Their head's going to be way up, way up here, and real high. They're going to have hollowed out their back. She's not doing it now, but their back's going to be all hollowed out. They're going to be pulling back with these big shank bits, and these horses are going to be gaiting. And I don't know how they're even gaiting, but that frame, it's going to break down the horse, and they're going to become broken down, and they're going to end up getting, kind of like sports-related injuries kind of thing, and so That's the kind of stuff we don't do. But you can do that and train a horse that way quickly. You know, you can, oh, your horse won't stop, or he's running through your hands. Here, let's put this big bit on there, you know, and let's run him into that and pull him back. I've heard many people say when you ride a gaited horse, you ride with your foot on the gas and on the brake at the same time. And that is just nuts. When you can ride a horse, when you can take a horse and get him used to you and relaxed with you and in balance with you, and when that horse moves out and they're relaxed and they drop their head into a comfortable position for them, and they're just striking this really smooth gait, and you're just flipping along. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it. And I don't know if you have you ever. I don't know if you've worked with a horse or not, where you're not even really, you're in a round pen with them or something, right? And they're just nervous. They are just worried about the whole thing. Maybe it's one of the first, you know, lessons you're doing. And they are just worried. And that poor horse will be a bucket of sweat. I mean, just like sweating, like flop sweat, you know. And they're not even really running around much or anything. They do a little bit, but not a ton. And they're just like in a flop sweat. Well, that's that nerve, like when your muscles are all tense and you're nervous and you're worried, it's harder for you to move, and it's more exhausting for you to move, and the tension doesn't go away, you know. And so and the converse, like, is when you have a horse that you know, you hop on, it's relaxed, you lift up the reins, gathers itself up, gets itself collected, and moves on out. Well, I mean, that horse will not have any problem carrying you for long rides, and in a manner that they move and they're moving in a healthy way that's not breaking down their body. And so that's what we're trying to do. And I'll have, like I said, I'll have to post some of the other stuff. But again, like I said, we just don't focus on the gait. These are gaited horses. They're genetically bred to gait. When you get them calm and relaxed and in balance, they will gait. Now, different ones will maybe be more talented, maybe have a deeper stride or something that you're looking for, maybe more of a head nod or something like this, and there'll be differences in them, okay? But they should all gait. And the reason you see these horses that don't so much is I think it's probably 90-some% has to do with the way they were trained. And so it's important. It's important to, like I said, we're trying to do something totally different. I've been criticized that, you know, I had someone else say that, you know, our horses, were training them like quarter horses or something like that. And I don't know. I can see what they're saying, sort of, but if I'd like to say, like, one of the things that Eric and I aspire to, we really like to watch, is it's the Portuguese riding, and they call it, I think they call it working equitation. You should look it up. It's really cool. Anyhow, and they're using PRE horses, the Spanish horses. But anyhow, it's a really cool riding. The horses are really relaxed, under control, and everything. That's the kind of stuff that I'm aspiring to. Not identical to that with the walking horses, but to where they're a good riding horse, you know. And but that is lost. I mean, you really, yeah, they'll say, oh yeah, good trail horse, but I mean, can they side pass? Can they can you open gates easily with them? Can you, you know, I don't know, are they just flexible and smooth and relaxed, and speed up when you want to go faster, slow down when you want to go slower, or, you know, reliable when you're riding them, you know, not worried, all this kind of stuff. A lot of times, no, you know. That's a, oh, she looks pretty good now. I got that out. That was that right there was that knot. You can kind of see it still. The memory of it is there, but I got that all done. So I'm gonna go get Lily, hang her here and brush. Hey Lily, you ready to come out, girl? Yeah. Like I said, we let them come up to the door. She wants to come out. I'm gonna have to put the camera down here though. I'll get her. This is my girl Lily. That's Ed's Easter morning. She's a Palomino. She's out of my horse, the Diamond Trip. And I'm gonna get her brush out. They're starting to shed, getting ready for the winter here. You know, as the day lengths start to change, that's what, I don't know if you know, so now that's what has to do with their coat. Like as the day length starts to shorten, which is starting to shorten now. It's sad because summer's almost over, but they'll start to shed out. See, this is their thin coat, right? And they're going to start, as the day length starts to really get shorter, they're going to start to get that long, thin, thick winter coat. Okay. And we don't blanket our horses or anything like that. I was just talking to somebody today about this and saying that a lot of times people, when they build their barns and stuff, they build them to keep in their mind, it's like the horse warm in the winter kind of thing, and so they're all closed in and everything. But in reality, horses aren't bothered at all by the cold, and they're bothered by the heat. And so our barn here, like you see, I've got these, everything's pretty wide open, and see, like that one, it's just wide open, so the air goes right through. And the same thing with these, you got the back windows, everything's wide open, and we have lots of aeration between the stalls, like this. And this is great too, because the horses, when they're stalled up, they don't feel like they're isolated. We put them by friends and stuff that they have, and so they'll stand face to face there with the horse that they like, and just kind of, you know, nibble each other like with their lips and stuff, and they just feel really good. And then on this side, see, we have this solid wall here, and there's our corner feeders, and so they can eat in peace without feeling like another horse is staring at them and threatening them. So that's important. So, and then these feeders are really good because we can just put a whole boatload of hay in there, and so there's always hay in there. My horses always have hay. It's really important because horses by design, they eat 17 to 20 hours a day, and they're also covering a lot of ground. So anyhow, the barn, our barns are designed here with aeration and lots of fresh air, and also designed so that they can see each other and be around each other. There's Bandit. I'm going to say hi to Bandit. Hey, buddy. This is Rosie's dad. Isn't he pretty? He's such a gorgeous. Now he's a gray, so he's a chestnut base color gray. And see, that's how they turn white like that. But anyhow, so that's why we do like this really airy sort of things. And I have this big overhang, which is really nice because keeps the sun off them and stuff. But we build the I built the barns and designed the barns to be comfortable in the summer. And so they're really comfortable three seasons out of the year here, to be honest. And winter is brutal. I mean, when it's cold, it's cold. Now the horses don't care. I mean, they don't mind at all, but we do. I mean, we're all like, there's always there's a week or two in the winter where every one of us, we're just freezing our buns off out here. And but the horses, they don't care at all. Like I was saying though, with school is like that. So as the daylight starts to shorten, these horses will get real long, thick, insulated coats, and um, that's it's natural, right? I didn't even know when I was a kid. It was funny when I was a kid. I didn't even know that. All my pictures of horses I ever saw were the short coats, and and stuff like that. And I remember when I first saw this, I think it was a picture, or maybe it was a painting, and it was someone out west it was a winter scene, and he's on this horse, and this horse was woolly. I mean, just like, and I thought it was a different kind of horse. I thought, it's not a different, like it's like a woolly mammoth. I didn't realize that they got thick coats like that, but they do. And so we let them get their thick coats here. We don't shave them down or anything, and then they're quite comfortable. And also, like when I'm bathing them, we don't we try not to use soap a lot of the time, if I can get away with it. If it's a real bad stain or something, and I need to get it off, or it's something that's, no, I don't know, like could cause an infection or something. Then we use soap, obviously, but we don't. We try not to wash, because you have all their natural oils on their skin and on their coat and everything. So we try not to wash that away. Just try to work with it, right? And so that's what I try to just rinse them off with just water like that, and try to preserve all their oils and their skin and everything. That's what we do. But I was talking about like the training that we do. Look at how calm. Look at her. She's all like getting sleepy. A lot of horses like being groomed like this. One of the things too, like if you're grooming a horse, look at her lips. See, I'm liking this. Look at her eye. That's something. It's really cool. So I was gonna say, like sometimes when you're grooming your horse like this, they'll reach by, and people go, "Oh, he just bit me. He just tried to bite me." Yeah, he might have. And I'm not saying this is always the case, but in the cases that I'm talking about, if you're grooming a horse like this and they reach by and they give you a bite, it's probably because they're trying to groom you in also. And like if you ever see a horse, like they'll turn. I call it butt buddies. You see them like where they're standing in the pasture, and they're nose to butt, or they're grooming. You'll see them like where they're chewing on their wither area here. They just chew this right here, and like see when I did that, see how she started bobbing her head, because that is, and she's actually bringing her, and now I wish I could. She's nibbling on me right now, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. So. Like sometimes people who are new to horses, when a horse does it, they think, "Oh my gosh, what did I do? He's being mean. He's trying to bite me, or she's trying to bite me, or something like that." No, they're just trying. You're grooming them, and so they're just trying to groom you back. Now, it's a nice thing. Okay, the bad part about it is when they do that, sometimes they bite you, because they'll bite each other. You'll hear their teeth clunk, 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 clunk when they're chewing on each other, right? And so. Doesn't bother them, but you can get a blood blister or something. They can bite you pretty good. Now they're not, like I said, it's not, an intent is not to hurt you in that situation. Now, like I said, there are times when I've seen other people's horses who are actually biting them because they don't want them to be brushed, and they don't want you to touch them here or here, or here or something. And so they actually are biting to try to get you to stop. Now I'm not talking about that. Am I, sweetie? No. So I'm just talking about when they reach over and and give you like a little nibble kind of thing. It's because they're trying to reciprocate. You know, they're saying, "Oh, you're loving on me and grooming me, so why don't I do that too?" You know, it's kind of like the monkeys. You know, they look for the bugs and stuff on another monkey, so they're kind of trying to groom you along. You know, and reciprocate what you're doing. So if that happens to you when you're doing horse, just understand what it is. Now you probably don't want to let them do it. I just redirect their head, move their head away, or I just gently massage I'll gently massage their muzzle like this, you know, and see how she's licking me now. And that's all sweet, gentle behavior. That's her reciprocating and appreciating what I'm doing, and so she's just trying to be sweet right back. See that? So that's the kind of stuff I'll do. Like I'll interact with them that way. But this you've seen another video we have. It's called I call it Mind Your Space, and this is something like, I'll just see if I can get her to, like, see, she put her foot down. She actually put it down an inch closer to me than it was. Okay, now she's moving to fly, but she needs to step out of my space. So I just like that, just tip her a little bit. Go on, keep going. There. Because if you don't, like especially with horses like, well, I was going to say mares, and it's really important with all of them, but mares and stallions, you want to keep them out of your space. You want them to think when they're moving that they need to not move their feet towards you, because you can get yourself stepped on and hurt and everything. But the horse, when a horse does that kind of stuff, not always, but the fact that they can, if they just step into you with no regard, they're showing that if something scares them, they're going to jump on you, because they wouldn't do that. Like this horse would not do that to a lead mare that I have, or another horse that's above it in its pecking order. It would just not do it, because there'd be repercussions. That other horse would bite them, kick them, run them off, all sorts of stuff like that, right? And you don't want to have that kind of relationship with your horse, you know. And you don't have to be mean. You just have to have boundaries, you know, and have boundaries and just be conscious of it. It's really hard, like I find it very hard when I'm talking to people and stuff to be paying attention to all that kind of stuff. But my friend Eric, I mean, he's always pointing that out, and like he's very hyper aware of all that. And by him being that way, the horses are just in really good, they develop really good manners, you know, and so it's what you want to do. You know, you want to get them to where they're thinking about you. And I have that other video. It's a kind of a short video. It's of my stallion Wayne, and it's about how I keep his attention on me. And in that video, it's actually his attention isn't on me. And I had someone say in the comments, it doesn't look like his attention's on him. Well, that's what I put him out there when he was having a hard time. And there's no point in showing a horse that's perfect and not moving, and then me trying to explain, like, well, if he was moving, this is what I would do. You know, I got him to when he was distracted. We had moved him out of his pasture with his mares, and he was getting his hooves trimmed, and we took him out of the pasture, and he wanted to go back, and he kept calling to his mares and looking over in the field and wasn't paying attention and stuff. And so it was a perfect opportunity to show like how I do that. That's a really good video to watch. It's nothing, I mean, it's just, I use a flag or something, and like I'll show you here, like with her, like she's getting, this is why this hanging horse is so good, because they have to learn to just be patient, okay? And they work it out themselves, okay? But what I'll do, like, see, what you want to do is, like, when you're approaching a horse, is you want to have them move out of your way. So I'm going to go like this. Come on, girl. And you see my hand here. I'm just putting my hand up by her eye. And I click a little bit. And clicking means, when I make that noise, it means move something. And so I moved her out of my space. Now, so she just, she's sniffing me now. She's sniffing me now. And so I just, like, and I'll come around the back here, and I'll go to put a little, this pressure on her. And I just clucking, and I was clicking my fingers like this. And she moved her butt out of my space. And this is the kind of stuff, because this is what another horse would do with them. They would, you know, if you have a lead horse comes into the pasture, every horse that's below that is like, uh-oh. Like one of our lead mares is one of my first Tennessee walkers. Her name's Ima. And I always use her as an example, because when Ima moves in the pasture, everybody's moving out of the way. So they're all keenly aware of where Ima is. You know, like if she starts walking in, they're like, okay, all right, I better get moving. I better be moving out of here. Because if they don't, I mean, she will bite them. She'll spin and kick them. She'll do all this stuff. This is what horses do, you know. And so I just love this horse. She's such a sweetie, aren't you, girl? So that's what they do. So you need to get it to where, look at her sniffing me. You wanted to get it to where they need to be conscious of you and paying attention. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be a fence post or like a tree that they rub against and get their itchies, you know, off or whatever like that. You know, you want to be where they would. It's the last thing that they would think about, is just to use you as an inanimate object, like a fence post or something. You want them to think like, oh, what does he want me to do? And it's like I said, you don't have to be mean or really aggressive or harsh. Sometimes you have to be, you know, if it's a, like, if sometimes you have to be a pointy table, like a coffee table that you're going to run your shin into, or like a leg on a couch where you jam you stub your little pinky toe in, you know. You got to be, sometimes you've got to be that immovable object that, you know, you don't kick like the leg of a couch with your pinky toe ever on purpose. And if you do it once, when you're walking around it, you give it a wide berth, and that's how you want your horses. Think like that. You know, you don't have to be. They just need to. They need to. You need to just train them to, you know, mind your space and be aware of it. Look how sweet she is. Well, there's some rambling for tonight. I hope you enjoy it. Enjoy seeing the horses, and wish I had smell-o-vision, because I love the way the horses smell. But you have a good night. Take care.